Welcome back, everybody, to the Busted Lip Podcast. My name is Mark Pavlich. Away in the west or east, the lovely 8-time world boxing champion, Jelena Marjinovic, and our special guest today, everybody. And we're going to make sure you know his name, not just in Thailand, not just in England, but around the world. He deserves it. That's what I think today. Everybody, 8-time WBC Muay Thai champion, Liam Harrison on the show.
Thank you for having me, guys. Thank you.
Liam, you know what's driving me nuts? I'm trying to sleep all night yesterday, and I'm like, oh my God. You know, I used to own the biggest MMA show in Canada, and I loved just the art of Muay Thai. I used to fanatically watch K1. I was like, I didn't watch anything else. Like, I didn't even watch MMA anymore. I just watched K1. When K1 came out, it was like, okay, this is it. This is the sport of sports, right? Literally, do you not see it as, for a guy that's had as many fights as you have, and the amount of stuff that you've done, do you think you were always underpaid in a sport, that the amount of work that you put into it and the amount of stuff that you did for it, you were massively underpaid?
Underpaid is an understatement, mate. Honestly, we had so badly. Do you know what? Now, towards the back end of my career, I got paid well for the last 5 or 6 years.
Sure.
I'd already been fighting for 20 years at this point, though, for peanuts. Do you know what I mean? I did it just because I loved it so much. But massively underpaid. Yeah, 100%. When you look at some sports, so MMA gets paid well. Obviously, boxing's massive pay. I understand it for boxing. It's got all eyes on it all over the world. That's sort of understandable. But as Thai boxing's growing now and the pay is getting much better, it's a bit of a kick in the balls to me, because I spent all my life fighting the best fighters on the planet every month in, month out. And I did it for peanuts. I did it just because I loved it. I did all right probably the last 6 or 7 years of my career. I was making good money from fighting. But the majority of my money up until that point, that were all coming from coaching, from seminars, from training website and stuff like that. There was points in my career, early days, and I don't know how I used to do this. I was teaching one-to-one PTs. I'd get up, I'd teach for 2 hours in the morning.
Crazy.
I'd then train for 2 hours myself. I'd have some lunch. I'd go back to the gym. I'd coach from 3 more hours, PTs one-to-one, and then I'd train myself for another 2 hours. And I was having to do that through my 20s until I was about 28, 29, just to survive, really, because unless you're going to fight 3 times a month, then it will pointless at that point.
Yes.
You're not going to make a good living out of it, yeah.
That's insane. I mean, I can relate with women's boxing even now too.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to fight for free and have to sell tickets to fight.
Yeah.
And have a full-time job on top of all the training, like you said. So I can completely relate. And then now you're seeing these women who are making millions of dollars, and you're like, fuck. I'm like, I'm 43. I'm like, can I still do this?
This is the perfect show. This is the perfect show today, everybody. Because listen, on the Busted Lip Podcast, some crazy shit always happens to people. But Liam, I honestly believe that. I believe, listen, I'm gonna bring this up again because it's driving me nuts. I'm watching the striking the other day in the UFC in the main event, and it was dog shit. No, I can say that, man. It's true. It's like you're watching the fight after the first round was over. It looked like 2 drunk guys fighting each other with lampshades on their head. Then I go to your Instagram and I see perfect right hands, perfect elbows, like little precision, perfection. And then we're looking at these 2 guys and we're like, and I'm no disrespect to them, man. I like them, but it's not the point. This is the Busted Podcast where honesty becomes very relevant. And then I'm watching your Instagram. I'm like, wow, your striking is just so miraculous. Like it's not even good. It's beyond good. And then I think to myself, they make what? And you make, you know what I mean? Like that's the balance I can't figure out in my head.
So Muay Thai for me is the pinnacle of striking sports. Punches, kicks, knees, elbows, you got to do everything. But the way Muay Thai is scored, you have to keep good balance. You have to keep good form. You have to show nice technique. You can't just get in there and start swinging all over, losing balance, losing form. If I throw a big kick at you, it hits you clean across the body. but I'd fall over afterwards and lose balance. That kick's not scoring. It's negating itself. So you have to have good technique. You have to be able to throw full power techniques and still keep your form, still keep your balance. I think, Gillian, I was explaining to you a little bit about how it's scored. We were sat in Bangkok one hour and telling you it's a little bit intricate how it's scored. Once you get the understanding of it, though, it's a beautiful sport, which is
it
why
was unbelievable. But so we were sitting there. I was going to bring that up. I'm like, I mean, I've seen it casually, and then we were sitting there, and I was like, I have so many questions, like so many questions, and I was like, don't get me wrong, like I love what I do, but I was like, you are a beast, because there is no way I want to get kicked and elbowed in the face, and it was insane. And I was sitting with you, and I was like, so does that hurt?
It all hurts. It all hurts.
Yeah, it does.
Again, in Muay Thai, the way it's scored, you've got to learn to have a poker face, because if you show any sort of, like, if you wince or grimace, the judges will catch that in their eye and they'll mark you down for it. So, like, all of this, it's not just about who hits the most in the round and scores the most points. All this stuff, like keeping form, keeping balance, keeping a poker face, not showing you hurt. This all comes into play in Muay Thai with the judges.
So I have a question with that. Do you find the judging, like, because I mean, every combative sport I think has issues with judging, but with boxing, I know we have a lot of issues with just weird scores. Now, does that happen because of all of those factors more in Muay Thai, or is it just very clear?
So this is where it gets a bit dodgy and weird, because countries score it different. Like, in England, we try and score it how the Thais do in Thailand. We keep all that stuff traditional. We score it how they score it in Thailand. But if I go over to America, they score it different. Or if I go over to Australia, they'll score punches just as high as kicks and stuff like that. So every country has got their own little interpretation of it. However, this gives us a little advantage of the English guys. I think England's the best country on the planet outside of Thailand now, in my opinion. And that's because we score it how they score it. So when we're going over to Thailand now, all the English fighters, we're doing well. We don't have to adapt his game. We don't have to change anything. We know how to score, how they score. So if you get a guy going over there who's just punching all the time, like from Australia or somewhere like that, they're going to struggle to win on points unless they knock them out.
Liam, tell me this. When you get off the plane the first time to Thailand, okay, I know how it works over there. So I know you being white is like a joke to them. And when you first come there the first time, like every white guy gets off the plane, and literally you're from England, which even makes it better because your bravado is in your DNA. You can't even pretend not to have it when you're walking into a gym there. And literally, I know how they are there. Like literally, they kind of I want you to go in more detail about your first time getting off the plane and then walking into that first Thai gym, and they're looking at you like, okay, bro, what are you doing here?
So when I was 18, I went to live in Thailand for 3 years.
Yeah.
And it was because I'd had 29 pro fights. I think I had a couple outside of England around Europe. I'd won all 29. Well, I'd had 27 wins and 2 draws. I'd not been beaten. I'd knocked out most of the people I'd been fighting. And I'd fought a couple of good Thai fighters and knocked them out. They weren't elite. They were just good. And on my 30th fight, I fought an elite Thai champion from Bangkok. He was a Bangkok Stadium champion. And this was in like 2003, 2004. So you couldn't just hop on YouTube and have a look at who you were fighting. All I knew is that he was a top-level Thai fighter. And I used to go on the rankings in Thailand all the time. And I'd seen him in all the rankings and stuff like that. And I thought, right, this is my chance here. I'll knock this guy out like I've been knocking everyone else out. And this will just skyrocket me into all that. So he came over to England. We fought. In round 2, I went, bang, left hook, dropped him. He jumped back up, and believe me when I say he beat me with an inch of my life for the next 3 rounds. He battered me.
Wow.
So there's no sport on earth that can humble you quite like Muay Thai can. Because I was thinking, oh yeah, when I knocked him down with the left hook, I thought, right, he'll get up, I'll finish him now, like I've been doing everyone else. He got up, and I remember clear as day, he had no gum shielding. He smiled at me. He had blood all across his teeth. Wow. And he went like that. He went, come on. And I thought,
oh shit!
They don't usually do that when I hit them. They usually stay down. But honestly, he got up and he absolutely battered me. He destroyed me. And after the fight, I was like, "Wow, this is the levels. I thought I was already there, and I realised I was nowhere near where I wanted to be. And I thought I've got 2 options here. It was just before my 19th birthday. I think I've got 2 options. I either stay here, pad out my record, and just keep fighting the good level fighters. But that's not what my goal was. I wanted to become one of the best fighters on the planet and be able to mix it with the best on the planet. So I thought, right, I'm going to have to go over there and learn how to fight how they fight, because when he beat me, he did stuff like taking me into the clinch, elbowing me, throwing me down, and I realised that I couldn't clinch with the top level Thais at that point, because they've been doing it since we were that small, and I'd started at 13, but I already had a little bit to catch up on them. Well, and that fight showed I had a lot to catch up on them, to be fair. So yeah, I came back home. It was eating up at me like I would like for 2 weeks afterwards. It was eating away at me. I'm thinking, what am I going to do here? How am I going to get over this? So I just made the decision. It was right before Christmas, and my mum got mad at me because it was Christmas coming up. I went, Mum, I can't stay here. I need to go live in Thailand. I'm sorry, I need to go. She went, just wait till after Christmas. I went, no, I can't, Mum. He's driving me insane. And I'd been with my girlfriend at the time for like 3 years, and I just said to her, I said, I'm sorry, it's over. I've got something that I need to do. Because
the obsession.
Eating at me away. So going back to what you said about walking into the gym for the first time then. So when I went to live at the gym, I'd been to this gym only to train, and I'm only there for like 10 days. When I came in and I said, right, I want to live how the Thais live. I said, I want to live on a mattress on the floor. I want to live with all the Thais. I want to live in the gym. I want to train how they train, and I want to fight how they fight out here. So when, for the first probably 3 months, I got bullied every day by the Thais.
Yeah.
Do you know what they were doing? So every morning you have to get up, you have to run 10K, you go back to the gym, you do pad work, you do clinching on the morning, or maybe sometimes sparring. Some of the Thais, what they were doing, we go to the park. I'd run the 10K around the park. Some of them would go to the park, get a bottle of water, pour it over the red light, they'll be sweating, and just walk back to the gym. They wouldn't run. And then when it came to sparring, they were fresh, and they battered me every single day. They were just battering me. It was ridiculous. And I thought, what am I doing here? I'm getting bullied here. But eventually, like, I'd had a couple of fights and I'd had a good couple of wins when I got there. I started to get the respect a little bit. And then after about 3 or 4 months, when it comes to sparring, I thought, hang on a minute, I'm holding my own here. I've started to up my level a little bit, and I wasn't just getting beat up every day. And then after that, the Thais they'd come and sit with me, and they'd eat with me, and we'd do stuff, and I started to pick up a bit of their language and stuff, and I sort of got welcomed in. But after about 8 months in living in the gym on the mattress on the floor, I couldn't live with them anymore. They were driving me crazy. So I moved into a little apartment. I moved into a little apartment just next door to the gym, just so I had my own space, because they were driving me nuts. I'd come out every morning and they'd have my underwear on, and I'd go buy some brand new trainers, and they'd wear my trainers to go running in and stuff. And I'm going, "What are you doing? I only bought them yesterday." But it was funny. There's experiences like that, they're life experiences. They're not just like fighting experiences. I learned so much from being in the gym with them around that time. Not only about like life, but about myself and about what I'm made of. Because there were so many mornings when I woke up and I just got battered off them all, and I'd be like, "What am I doing with what am I doing here? Just getting beat up every single day." And there were times where I think, just get on plane and go back home. But I stuck with it, and then at the end of the 3 years when I lived there, I think I'd had 18 fights there in Thailand. I'd won 16, I'd lost 2. I'd made a really good reputation for myself. And then when I went back to England, I started fighting the elite level guys again, the same level guy, the one who beat me. And I fought 3 in a row in 2007, and I knocked them all out. So from that little stint that I'd had there, it completely changed me as a fighter, and it brought me from down here, then I was up there, and I was able to fight all the best fighters on the planet from there.
Well, and that's, I think, a testament to your career and your drive. And it's funny because you see all kinds walk in the gym in any combative sports, and you they talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. And you hear about the sacrifices, and I know personally the sacrifices I've had to make. And people are like, "Oh, I'd give anything to do this," and you're like, "Okay, well,
would you though? Really, would you?"
Yeah, would you? Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah,
that's so true.
And so you were 18, 19. Like we're just going through this in the gym. My trainer, Sugar Hill Stewart, Crunk Boxing.
Yeah.
So he had a guy who is fighting on Clarissa's undercard, and I mean, family is always first, but if you're saying you're in love with this sport, I mean, we were talking to Matt Brown. He said, "I'm married to the game." And I can relate to that. You obviously can.
Yeah.
But this kid, he's 25, but his wife's having a baby, and he's supposed to be fighting in 3 weeks, and he left camp. And so it's just, he's like, "Well, I don't think I'm going to fight because I have to be there for my wife." And I was like, "Dude, like you have
how time
such a
changes.
huge
How time changes, eh?
You
you
see
have
so
such a
many of the
huge opportunity, and you're like, what I
Gigantic.
wouldn't give for that opportunity,
you
you know.
see
And
so
then
many
there's
elite level guys that like who are in. I remember used to watching the HBO documentaries like with Floyd Mayweather, and I remember it might have been Triple G, who were in camp one point. And I remember it saying, "Oh, my wife's about to give birth, and I can't be there. I've got to be here in my camp." That's because like you said. Then that's because that's what you got to do as a fighter. It's a selfish sport when you're in that ring on your own. But
we
when
found
you're
out.
up at that level, there's so many rewards to be able to bring from it that you can then take back
Liam,
to your family.
I'm not going to correct you.
You're going to love this, Liam.
Yeah, we found this out the other day, and we both were like, it was like that we discovered the cure of cancer when he said it. He said, we're not selfish. We're self-centered.
Yeah.
That's the difference. And literally, Matt Brown, he was on our show from the UFC, and he's like, no, it's not selfish. It's self-centered. You're not selfish. You're doing things lots for your families, for whatever you're doing it for, but you do have to be very self-centered to be people like Jolena and yourself, Liam, because if you're not, you're never going to succeed to the level you succeeded to. Listen, you ask any NFL player that we've had on this show, any guy that plays on the NHL that's on our show, they've all said the same thing. It's literally like 180 guests that have been on this show have all said the same thing. You either have to marry someone kind of that understands what you're going to do, because you can't teach someone to understand this. It's impossible. Because when you guys talk, actually, I get goosebumps when I see your obsession. It's not passion. It's not, oh, I'm passionate. No, you guys are obsessed. And that's the difference. That's what people don't understand. Your obsession is so in depth that you literally told your girlfriend, I gotta go to Thailand. Can you imagine her face? Like, can you imagine her face? Like, just like, I'm going to Thailand. You're doing what? Like, you're not going out to get a beer. You're going to Thailand. Like, it's crazy, but it's not crazy to you.
Yeah, so just go and pull you back there. What you said you need to find someone who understands it. So I've been lucky here. So my fiance, we're getting married in the summer. We've been together.
Fantastic.
Congratulations.
Fantastic.
We've been together now like 15 years. We met in the gym. She was a fighter herself.
There you go.
So she had like 18 pro fights, 14 wins. She was ranked number 2 in England and stuff. So she was
fantastic.
She understands. She's seen what it takes and she knows what it takes. Unfortunately, she don't fight anymore because the job took over. Her job got a bit too demanding, but she knows and she's understood. And I've not had to ever
when you pick up your bag,
myself.
Liam, when you pick up your bag, she doesn't say anything. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
when you pick up your bag, you're going out the door. There's no discussion. Hey, bye, sweetie. We'll see you later. You know, but there's no. What are you doing this time? You know, like that's the stuff. And we've seen a lot of guys have struggle with and females struggle with the relationship. Jay, don't laugh. I'm not talking about you. Okay.
Shut your mouth, Mark.
What I'm saying is, I can see how. Imagine Jolena, 8-time world boxing champion, and her boyfriend goes, "Where are you going, honey?" "I'm going to the gym for the 3rd time today," and he's upset because he can't have. You know what I'm saying? This has happened to Jolena multiple times in her life.
Really?
You know, crazy.
Yeah, it happens. But the other thing is like I've been on the other hand where I have dated a fighter, and that didn't work because egos are. You have two self-centered people, and it is hard. It is hard, but that is. See, I'm working on it.
Yeah.
That's great. So you and I were at. This was incredible. It was a privilege to be a part of this, but we were at the first WBC Muay Thai convention.
Fantastic.
And I had the privilege of listening to you speak. Now, again, because I'm a dumb Western Canadian, I had no idea how amazing you were. And you are so incredibly well spoken. And so I went up to, I've been a WBC champ on and off since 2005. So my first convention was in 2006. And I remember, being so completely overwhelmed with all of it and just in awe of these people being my peers now, but also like my idols, right? And I came up to you and I was like, oh, I just want you to know, you did the opening speech. And I was like, you were just so incredibly well-spoken. I was just trying to be welcoming, right? Because I know it is a lot to be at this. And then we sat and we chatted, and then I followed your Instagram. And I'm like, man, I'm such an idiot. So I wanted to, first of all, apologize for being so incredibly naive. But also, I want to give you your credit because you are a superstar in everything you do. But I wanted to ask you here, how cool was that experience? Like now that the WBC has a world title, they've been in Muay Thai for what, 5-6 years now
No,
or
no.
more?
So I
No,
won
way more. Sorry.
Yeah, I won the WBC world title in 2014. I won the WBC
Okay.
international fighter in 2010. I think they came in 2005. So
Wow.
this, because they've been around 20-year
20 years,
anniversary,
yeah.
which is why the boxing
That's
let them
amazing.
merge. I think because it was their 20-year anniversary, so that's why they merged with the boxing.
Do you
So
think
how
that though,
cool was that experience?
Oh,
Like,
so
because I know for me, like my first convention, and I met like Roberto Duran, who is like my hero in the sport, and now
yeah,
my
same.
friend.
Yeah.
Like, how cool is it?
He's the first person I saw and got there. So what happened with that is I were meant to fight on the 6th of December. And
I'm gonna bring that up too, but go on.
Yeah, so the guy from the WBC Muay Thai, Kevin Noon, he was like, right, I know you're in Bangkok, come along to this. And I was like, oh, it's fight week, I'm going to be cutting weight. And he was like, no, you don't understand. Because I won the WBC diamond belt just before that last year. So there's only like 10 people in Muay Thai who hold that belt, so it's quite a big deal in Muay Thai, that belt. So we're like, look, I want you to come and represent Muay Thai for the week. I'm like, it's fight week. I'm gonna be like dying. I'm gonna be cutting weight. I'm gonna feel like shit. I'm not gonna want to talk to anyone. I just want to be locked in my room, sulking, dreaming about what food I can eat at the end of the weigh-in.
Yeah.
So then I injured my knee, and I had to pull out of the fight anyway. And then he was like, right, you can come all week now. You don't understand how big this is. I went, right, I'm coming anyway. I said, I want to come. So then when I actually got there and I seen how amazing the whole thing was, and the first person I saw was Roberto Duran, and I lost my mind. I went, it's fucking Roberto Duran! I went, shit!
And he's amazing.
Yeah,
I don't think people realize how cool Roberto Duran is, and like he is just I mean, not only is he an unbelievable legend, but he is just the coolest guy.
Yeah.
You can only understand half of what he says.
But
But
that makes him funnier though when he says that.
Doesn't it though? Yeah. So that's hilarious. Yeah, there was a bunch of legends at this event, and you slid right in like you're like your boss. So
they just sat me with them all to that. Right, you are representing Muay Thai. You are going to be like the head guy in Muay Thai. We're putting you all with all the other legends. And I didn't realize I was going to be like sat with Usyk and
crazy
Devin Haney and all these people. I was like, holy, but it would like Roberto Duran. I lost my mind. I was like, right, you can't do that every time. Get your shit together. You can't do that every time you see someone who's like
Eric Morales too. Same thing with me. I was like, so it was really cool to meet you there, and then just like. Because I know I had the same thing when I went, and they were like, well, you're going to have to say an opening speech. This is like two minutes before you go on. You're going to have to say a speech in front of everybody. And I was like, so I wanted to reach out and be like, man, you did an incredible job. Like,
yes, that's what they did to me. They came over and gave me a mic and went, right, you're going to do a speech. I went, oh, when like 10 minutes, so I don't say. They went, now. And then they pointed at me and they had my picture on the big screen. I went, oh, but what right now? What do I say? And they went, just talk about how important it is for Muay Thai. So I got up there, me and the other girl, Shannon's a WBC champion.
Yeah.
I got up there and I looked at her and I went, do you want me to go first? And she went, fucking yes. I went, sorry, I'll go first then. I'll go first. But I'm good at just, because I've like had my own podcasts and over years. And I've been involved in a lot of podcasts and that, so I'm just good at talking shit. I can just waffle. I can just go when I need to.
Doesn't matter.
Really, because a lot of people might have just been stuck with microphone there. I just started waffling and it seemed to work out all right.
It was great.
Liam, do you think that the WBC getting involved in Muay Thai 20 years ago made a difference? Because as you know, in North America, people, listen, the killer of Muay Thai in North America was the music. As you know, was the music playing. I have all respect in the world for the sport. I know a lot of people in it. And I was like, I used to tell them all the time, you're selling something to America where if you start playing the Thai music prior, they're like, okay, man, next. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear that. Like they want to see the guy come out, fight. Sure, wear the head thing or whatever the case may be. But I'm saying selling a sport. And K1 did that. Yeah. K1 did that. There was a point where I didn't watch anything else but K1. Like it was like on 24/7. I just was watching it constantly. And literally they figured it out to sell it to the masses. And it was like Muay Thai is so exciting, but it's like I know they want to stay in tradition, but to sell it to the masses, do you believe it has to change?
So that's why. So One Championship, that's what they've done. They've come along. They've cut the rounds down, so it's not 5 rounds anymore. They've took the 8-ounce gloves off and they've just put 4-ounce MMA gloves on the fighters.
Wow.
And, trust me. So I was signed to One Championship for a couple of years, and when you're fighting like the best strikers on the planet and you put them in 4-ounce gloves, there's so many gaps to land kicks and elbows and punches.
Well, and you've broken your hands a bunch, haven't you?
Oh yeah, about 5 or 6 times. My hands are destroyed. So then that was, but the thing, if that had happened to me in my mid-20s, it'd have ruined my career, I think, because I wouldn't have been able to fight as. Luckily for me, I made my reputation before One Championship and before social media, and I did it by living in Thailand and just word of mouth of all the Thais getting to know who I was. If I'd have been fighting in them small gloves in my mid-20s, I might have had to retire at 30 instead of 40.
Yeah,
because
of course.
you pick up so much damage in them. And don't get me wrong, I had some really good fights for them. I won Fight a Year in 2022 for them. I got like $100,000 bonus from the fight itself, and I got paid well, and a lot of stuff came from that. But like, if that had been in my mid-20s, I'd had to retire by now. Be done.
Yeah.
But that is how you sell it. Like that's how it's marketing. Like to the Western fans now. They've cut the rounds down to 3 rounds, so it's just all action. Put them in small gloves, and it's just absolute carnage from start.
Isn't that the greatest sport, though? If you think about it, right? Even in the MMA world, literally everybody, 90% of the people watch MMA go, when they hit the ground, they're like, okay, I get it, but okay, like stand up, right? Now you're going, okay, put MMA gloves on these guys and let them kick the shit out of each other, and there's no ground fighting. Oh, wait a second. I think you just invented the greatest sport in the world.
Exactly.
Well, that's bare knuckle boxing.
Well, it's not bare knuckle, but it's not bare knuckle because you're still wearing 4-ounce gloves, right? So it keeps the sport in it. Listen, I've always struggled with the bare knuckle stuff because there is no glove.
Yeah, however, it is diluting what Muay Thai is. There's a lot less. So, like, there's different type of fighters in Muay Thai. You get the clinch fighter who'll just come and try and grab your knee to death. You've got the technician fighter who'll go on the back foot. They'll try and pick you apart with. This is just turning like nearly every fight into a brawl because there's big bonuses at stake now.
Yeah.
And all they're trying to do is just swing and go for the bonuses. And it is taken away a bit of the traditional aspect. So for me, I'm still in a bit of a middle ground here. I understand it. I get it. They're trying to sell the sport, like you said, to the Western world. But the skill level's dropping a little bit now as well. And it's just turning every fight into a brawl. So it's just about finding a bit of a median in between both of those.
So you have a fight league, Hitman Fight League, right?
Yeah.
So what are you doing traditional Muay Thai or? So
we do a bit of everything for everyone. We have traditional Muay Thai rules. Because I was signed to One Championship, on every show we have a tournament and the winner goes straight to One Championship and gets a contract for them, which is pretty cool. So we've got traditional rules, we've got the 4-ounce glove rules, we've got kickboxing because a lot like you said, K1 style is big, and we've got a bit of a hybrid where it's 3 rounds, 3 minutes, 8-ounce gloves and not 4-ounce gloves. So we've got something for everyone on these shows. So we're just trying to keep it like that at the minute. So we try and cover all bases, really.
Were you there when? Because the guy lives in this city too, is where Jolene and I both live. Victor Cui. He was at one.
He works at one.
Yeah, he lives in the same city as all of us.
Yeah,
we all live here. It's weird.
Yeah. Victor used to work for one when I was there.
That's right.
I don't think he works there anymore, but he was.
I don't think so either. No.
Back to your promotion. So you guys have a fight coming up. When did you guys found Hitman, the Hitman Fight League?
So we're about 3 years ago now. Yeah, well, 3 years ago in April, I think.
And you fought on the show. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, I fought on one of them last year.
Yeah. So how did you find promotion while also fighting?
I'm lucky. There's a lot. Yeah. There's a team of 4 of us, you see. So there's a team of 4 of us. There's me, my cousin, Andy Howson, who were also, he was 5-time world champion. And then we've got Ricky Sewell, who was one of the referees. He's one of the referees at One Championship. And we've got Simon Jays, who's been involved in promoting shows for the last 15 years. So we've got a good set of guys. So when they said to me, right, do you want to fight on it? we'll sell out the arena. It'll be amazing because I've not fought in England for years. So I
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
and
perfect
then
timing.
It was packed because I saw some highlights. It was packed. Like,
yeah. And we build it as my last ever fight in England. It was for the WBC Diamond Belt. We built it as my last ever fight. So we totally sold out the arena. And I was lucky, really, because, like, whenever...
Sorry, I just want to explain to people, Diamond Belt is one of the super prestigious belts. So it's like, it's almost legendary status. So I'm assuming it's the same as the boxing Diamond Belt. So you can hold a regular belt, but the Diamond Belt just supersedes that.
There you go.
It's like when two legends. So I just want to explain to people how incredible the Diamond Belt is. So go on.
You've got to have held the WBC World title to be able to fight for the Diamond Belt, and I think there's only 10 fighters on the planet who've got it at the minute. So
probably future Hall of Famers. But go on.
Yeah. So when they said to me, right, do you want to fight on it? We'll bill it as your last fight, which it was, and usually because my name's attached to it, Hitman Fight League is my name. I've got my beak in everything that's going on. I'm like, right, is this going to be right? I want to make sure everyone's doing the job right and everyone's doing everything correctly. But when I was fighting, I was just like, right, I trust you all. You know what you're doing. I'm having nothing to do with any of it. I know we're going to have an amazing card. I'm not even looking in the group chat at what's going on. Sorry, my cat's about to walk in front of the camera and get I don't want to see anything of what's going on. I just want to keep my mind focused on what's... And they did a brilliant job, and I think we broke all the records for the most amount of tickets sold in a Muay Thai only show and stuff like that. So yeah, we were amazing, really.
Yeah.
What do you see at the end? What do you see at the end, Liam? What do you see at the end for you? Like, you go and say, okay, I have the fight championship and I have all this stuff, but what do you see at the end for yourself?
Do you know what? I announced my retirement last month because my knee can't take any more damage anymore.
I want to talk about that too.
I'm bored out of my mind already. You know what? I had my first pro fight when I was 14.
That's what I mean.
Oh, wow.
I don't know how to not be in a fight camp. It's because that's all I've ever known, and
that's why I'm asking. Have you kind of gone down and written something out in your brain that you go, okay, like, what am I going to do to catch my buzz now?
So I'm lucky enough I've set up years and years of coaching seminars in between fights. So at the minute, I'm booked out from seminars for the entire year. I've got seminars coming up in Hawaii, Canada, America.
Wow,
Where in Canada? Where in Canada are you doing it?
I'll be in Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal. So yeah, I've got the full year booked out with seminars. I've had a few offers to fight boxing on not crossover boxing on like the Misfits cards and stuff like that. But we spoke about that because like MMA fighters are going into that, like Darren Till and other people are fighting on Misfits cards.
Smash people on the Misfits cards.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm thinking. But
you know what? I'll
be some YouTubers happily for some good money.
Yeah, right. And they pay like the Misfits. They pay very well.
Yeah.
I was in camp with Tyson Fury, right? I worked with him in camp, and so I spent a lot of time in Morecambe, and we went and saw, I don't know if it was a Misfits show though, but I watched his brother fight, not Jake Paul, but on that show, and people love it out there. I mean, I wish I was from the UK because people support their fighters like insane. And like I was watching the highlights and there was one that panned to the crowd and I know I had my 50th professional fight here in Edmonton and the place was electric and there's no feeling that you get. I will never recreate that feeling of fighting at home. It was my 50th fight. The place was vibrating. It was so loud. So I can only imagine. Well, I can imagine what you felt there, but I mean, what an incredible feeling! Yeah, that is so cool.
Yeah, like that. I was gonna come back and try and fight again, but then I thought to myself, "What am I chasing here? I'm chasing something that I can't catch again. Like I'll never ever be able to." Like I remember when I came out, everyone who thought it was my last fight, everyone had the phones out, the noise, and I've never heard noise like it in an arena, and I fought all over the world. Even like when there were 15,000 people there in like Bangkok and China and places like that.
It's not the same.
No, it wasn't. Like there was nothing like that. So I thought, you know what? I've injured my knee again. I'm sick of being in pain and getting hurt.
Yeah.
That could be my last memory. Let everyone have that as their last memory of me, because I won the fight by TKO in round 3. I put in a good performance, won the diamond belt. The entrance, the night, the day, everything were perfect. So
just electric.
we're content with that.
Yeah, good.
And that's where I am, because like I'm still boxing. I want to drop down one more weight class, win another world title, but I always wanted to finish at home, but I don't know if I can ever beat that 50th fight. So
it's hard to
you're like, do I just leave it on the road, or do I do one at home? So that's why I kind of wanted to pick your brain about that, because I saw your interview after, and it gave me chills, because I'm kind of going through the same thing. Like, I had ACL surgery as well, and it's such a bitch to, like, arthritis in the knee and all the things, and you're like, knee swells up when you go for a run. I feel you on everything you're going through. So except you've had way more fights than me. Like, I think you had double in a bit. So
but 50 is a lot of fights for boxing.
In boxing, that's a ton.
Yeah,
that's a
ton.
Yeah, 57, 58,
it's different.
I'm not sure.
That's a right record. Like, not hardly any pros these days will get anywhere near to that.
They won't.
No,
they won't.
Yeah.
But so that, so I struggle, and again, and I've had lots of conversations, because a lot of my peers are, same age, same situation. Tyson Fury and I had a huge conversation about that, and every time he announces his retirement, I'm like, dude, you're gonna miss it in a month. Like,
he's
so
about 6 times,
man, the guys, but it's like you say, it's kind of in your DNA. It's not, and that's where I find, and maybe you struggle as well, is where do you separate the identity of Liam the person and Liam the fighter,
or the hitman?
Right? And
that's all I've been known as since I was 14. Is that guy who under the lights? Everyone said, "Oh, Liam Harrison's fighting soon. I can't wait for this." And then it just stops.
Even conversations, they're like, "Oh, so when's your next fight?" Like, people don't know how to relate to you as a person, at least for me, and not the fighter. I'm like, hey, I'm a whole ass person too. You can ask me how my day was, like, not when my next fight was.
Did anybody ever try to rob you in Leeds? Like, you were walking down the street one time, and did anybody ever try to rob
London?
No.
Can you imagine? Like, if I was thinking that the other day, I'm like, because in Canada, they don't. Well, Canada, same thing. You get it's shit. There's places everywhere in every country, right? But they're showing the other day. They're going, oh, you got to check out London and England and Manchester, Leeds, and all these places. They're saying, how the crime rate is going up, and they'll steal your watch right off your wrist, And I'm like,
London's a shithole, big time.
London's number one. They say London's the worst. But I was just thinking, I'd love to see someone try to rob you for your watch. Now that's a show in itself. That's a show we can all watch and get behind and go, here's a new YouTube channel. We're going to, on the Busted Lip podcast, we're going to start
send Liam out.
We're
see what we can get into. But it's different. Like, I don't think you guys have as much gun violence over there, but it's like they'll knife you just out of nowhere.
They're
stabbing people.
And they don't think twice. They pull out these big, zombie knives, these big knives. They pull them out of the jacket. They have no respect for life whatsoever. A lot of the youngsters. They'll stab you. They'll only get 12 years in prison, and they won't think to have that. It's only 12 years. No problem.
Canada's the same. Canada's the same. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. We went for one of Tyson's press conferences. We were in London. And I'm like, I'm just gonna run out across the street to go get some. They're like, not by yourself. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm just going to the garage.
The garage. The garage.
And they're like, not a chance. And so Tyson came out with me, like, because I'm like, who's gonna fuck with him? Like, 7 foot nothing. But it is insane over there, Mark. Like, they don't play.
Yeah, but what I'm saying
is, it's not just fighting. Like, I mean, I'd fight every day on the street if I wasn't going to get stabbed. Like,
correct. It's different.
But that's what you have to worry about. Like,
Liam, I don't leave my house in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, without a knife in my right pocket. So let it show you.
You're the problem. No,
you watch the Busted. People watch the Busted podcast. My right pocket. I go to church on Sunday. I got it in my right pocket. You can't see it. It's super thin. But I'm like, now in this day and age, man, I'm like,
Liam,
no way.
Liam, these Mark is the problem here. I don't. It's
we're just. Yeah, I'm 4 hours away from London. London's like 4 hours south from me. So I'm a bit up north. We're a bit
Yes,
nicer
of
up
course.
north. So yeah.
So I was in Morecambe, like, so
I'm
you're
about 1.5 hour away from that. I am.
That's
okay.
right.
Further up.
Yeah.
It leads to soccer, like soccer.
That's
Football.
This is my football team.
Football.
Yeah.
Yeah. I loved being in the UK. I spent a lot of time there, 2 years ago, I think. I was there for most of the year. We had camp after camp with Tyson, and the people there they're amazing. They're like Canadians. They're like a rowdier version of Canadians, I think. Like,
I love Canada. So whenever I used to say to people, 'cause I've done a lot of seminars in Canada.
Wow.
I've got friends on both the west and east coast, and whenever anyone asks me about Canada, they say, "What's Canada like?" I say, "Canadian people are like what Americans would be if they were cool." I say it all the time.
I love that.
100%.
I'm going to steal that from you.
I love Canada.
I'm writing that down. Listen, I'm writing that down because that is gold right there. Because that is so true,
I say
man.
it all the time.
So true.
Yeah.
So true.
I was worried about going and being like homesick after a while because we had back-to-back camps and I worked with Tyson's team. I was his training partner and then kind of took on more roles as we went. And I absolutely loved it over there. And I kind of miss it. So I loved when we were in Thailand, I loved talking to you because I missed the accent, first of all, but like, and the camaraderie and whatever. And I felt like we could have chatted for hours, but there was so many things to do there. So yeah, I was, when Mark said he reached out to you, I was like, I love Liam. I was like, I barely know him, but I want to talk to him more. So
the crazy part is I go on my, we have a sheet, Julian and I, about all the guests we want to have on our show. And people go, well, why don't you get this hockey player that plays for Edmonton in your town? Like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you understand, he could never be on a show for 1 hour talking about anything. Like he can give you the answer, like we played hard or we did, this is what I'm trying to tell you. This is a different podcast. So you got to have people on with like, that have had like world experiences through their whole entire life. And they're not scared to say things on air as well. Right. So this is the difference.
But I also got close to 200 fights together. But it's a miracle. We can even string a conversation together. It's a miracle, to be fair.
That's right.
Right? I was I've been,
exactly.
I don't know. I think I've had over 60 stitches in my face. So I'm sure you can relate. Yeah. And like a lot of damage. But I think what's cool, and you brought it up even about Thailand, like the experiences that we've had to do on our own, because even as much as combative sports is a team sport, because I cherish my team, I'm no one without my team. However, it is the loneliest road, and the thoughts that go on up in here, and the trick my brain plays on me. I don't know about you, but like
every fight, even my last fight, my 120th fight, and it was still doing it then. It still does it then. It's just part of it.
You're just like, why? I don't know about you, but I was talking to Matt Brad about this because I think that's something, and Tyson and I had a lot of conversations about this, about just the battles you play mentally, and like even walking to the ring, like every time I'm like, why the fuck am I
wish every person on the planet could just experience that just once in their life. Just as you walk into the ring and there's one part of your brain going, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing?
Like, why am I here?
That just goes, and then the other part's going, this is going to be fucking amazing. It's crazy. And then as soon as your music hits and you walk out and you see the crowd and everything's forgotten and the buzz you get, that's what I'm missing about not being able to fight. That, because what's going to replace that? It's like I say it all the time, just walking out to the ring like that is a drug that nothing on earth will ever be able to replicate. That's what I'll miss about retiring. Like,
definitely.
The adrenaline.
I might not ever feel that feeling again. Yeah.
Well, you will in the Misfits fights. But,
I wouldn't cross that. I wouldn't cross that off your list, Liam. I think that you would excel in that version of fighting. You know what I mean?
That's not even a question. It's just about getting, as Tyson says, getting paid and getting laid. That's what he always says. I mean, like people always knock about these YouTube fighters and these MMAs and all these crossover fights. Listen, for someone like you, and like me and even other people, why not get paid? We've done enough damage in our.
We've paid our dues.
No, for sure.
And we've
for
solidified
sure.
our legacies.
Yeah.
So
I totally agree.
I'm here for it. Like I'll sign up, I'll pay the fee. Like I will support you in that because
100%.
Listen, there were so many years, I know for me, and I can only assume for you that you were like, fuck, how am I gonna eat today?
So
like
when I was living in Thailand,
kind of struggle.
I tell this story on every podcast I go on. So when I was living in Thailand, what I had to do is, sorry, my dog's chasing my cat all over the house.
It's a fight household.
Yeah. So what I was doing when I was living in Thailand, because I was getting paid so little, every fight I had, I was betting on myself because gambling is massive in Thailand.
Huge.
Gambling's illegal, but it's only legal if you're in a stadium for Muay Thai. All the gamblers would go to bet. So every fight I had, I'd say to my coach, right, my fight purse, here it is before the fight, bet it on me to win. And then one time I did that. I was fighting this guy. I knew I was fighting. He was ranked number 3 in Thailand at the time. I was 100% sure I was going to knock him out. And in round 3, I hit him with a right hand and I wobbled him all over. And I ran in to finish him and he kneed me right in the middle of my chest. And it just took all my energy away from me. And I ended up losing the fight on points. I'd bet everything I had on myself. I'd lost it all. All the coaches had bet on me too. They'd lost money.
Everybody lost.
I went back to the gym that night. I'd had a 5-round war, and I was like, "Oh my god, what am I going to do here? I'm going to have to go back to England. I've got no money. I'm going to have to ring my mum and go, Mum, book me a flight and go home with my tail between my legs." And then my coach, and he came in the gym that night. He went, "What are you going to do?" And I was like, "I don't want to go home." And he went, "I know you can't. I booked you another fight in 3 days. I had to fight again in 3 days to get some money." But I was absolutely battered as well from the other fight. Like my shins were battered. I'd got a little cut on my eye and stuff, and I just had to fight again 3 days. Yeah,
I can't imagine.
It was the most awful experience of my life, but I had to fight. I had to fight and I had to win. Luckily, the guy I was fighting, he wasn't that strong an opponent, and I ended up knocking him out in round 3. But I got my money to pay my rent for a couple of months then. And then after that, I was like, right, I'm not betting on myself ever again.
Yeah.
So at that fight, my coach, even because ties are crazy, my coach said, right, I'm betting on you. I was like, I'm fucked. I was like, don't bet on me. He went, don't want to bet on yourself. I went, no, I've just lost everything I own. I can't lose anything else.
Everybody on YouTube right now, hide.
So,
any YouTubers out there, hide right now. I'm just letting you know. Just hide. I'm warning you.
That's such a great story.
Hide.
Now, I have a question. Are you going to write a book? And if so, can you send me the link because I want to buy it because I think you have such incredible stories.
Yes.
So many people have said to me, oh, please write a book, please write a book. I've actually been approached by my friend. He was a Marine and he wrote a book about being in the Marines and all that stuff. And like the guy who helped him publish it, one of his publishers, they approached me and said, oh, so maybe in a year or 2 I might do.
No, you absolutely have to.
And
again, because I lived with the man in training camp. Tyson said the same thing to me because you know how camp life is. It's boring. So you talk about everything and anything, and you shoot the shit back and forth. And he's like, "Listen," he's like, "I was apprehensive." For his first book, and he's like, it was so amazing. And again, it's teamwork. You got to find the right person, but he's been encouraging me every time. But you have those stories, like people don't do that anymore. I hope you understand that. Like these up and coming people, they live it easy. They don't have the life experiences, the stories. Right. They're quite boring, and everything that they do tell you, you don't know if it's true or not because AI can tell you anything.
In Muay Thai now as well, it's quite easy to be a professional fighter now because social media gives you a platform to get sponsors, to help get all these extra ways of income coming in and stuff like that. There were none of this back then. Obviously, you'll appreciate what it was like to fight back in 2004, 2005 and stuff. You're like, there was no social media to build yourself a big platform.
You had to hit the streets and sell tickets.
Exactly.
Hit the streets and sell tickets.
You had to get sponsors. You couldn't get any of that. So you had to fight that regular, and you had to just take any fight. You had to do it just because there were no other way.
Yeah. So please, I would love to hear more of your stories.
Me
I mean,
too.
I said to Mark when we were talking about guests when I started on this show, I was like, listen, I only talked to Liam. We were talking fight stuff because
Yeah.
I had so many questions because I genuinely wanted to learn from someone who as is a legend. And so we didn't even really get to chat about life and stuff. And you know, when I started following you, I started looking at your stuff and I was like, what a cool guy. I'm like,
Oh,
we
thank
need to
you.
get him on.
Yeah.
So you know, I would love to encourage you to write a book because I think that's what the general average person in life, not fighter, just the average person,
Yeah.
they gravitate to those stories. And I think that's another reason why people love you is because you're just what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
And you're not afraid or nervous to share the struggles and the triumphs and all of the
Yeah.
things in between. And I appreciate it because I've been kind of that voice here in Edmonton, but we're not a combative sports city. I mean, we used to be,
Yeah.
but it's something
Exactly.
Canadians are weird. They don't
Yeah.
really get behind their athletes on their own
No.
unless you're a hockey player.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I love that about the UK. Like I know, you know, one of the reasons besides he's a badass, Tyson, he shares his story and people can
Yeah.
relate.
Yeah. I
And
love it
your
for it.
your platform is so huge, and I love that you share the struggles that you go through as well, and the life experiences. Like
Yeah.
I think that's just incredible, and I really appreciate that one fighter to another. So
Oh, no,
thank you
thank
for
you,
that.
Brian. That means a lot coming from another legend like yourself. So thank you
Oh,
very
thank
much.
And you know, Liam, the
Yeah.
thing is too, you know, when you were telling the story earlier about just buying those new shoes, right? And you were saying how they weren't there. Like, you know what I'm saying? I know there's a lot more to that story. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like those,
Yeah.
those are the Cole's. We're getting the Cole's notes of stories, and
Yeah.
I think that's what the book would be for. You know, that you would tell the in-depth story about, you know, someone stealing that, and then you went into other things. You know, because I know all your stories today were fantastic, but at the same time, as I know, these are the abbreviated version of these
At the tip
stories.
of the iceberg, some of these, honestly, so much mad shit used to happen when you're in Thailand.
Yeah,
You'd be stood there one day, you'd just done a 3 hour training session, and then some random guy would come in the gym, and I could see my coach like looking and pointing at me and talking in Thai, and then I'd be like, what just happened then? And he'd go, you're fighting tomorrow, and I'd be like,
yeah.
oh yeah, and then I'd get up to go train in the morning, and the coach would go, what you doing? You're fighting? I thought you were joking. No,
No,
I'm
and I
fighting
wasn't
today.
joking.
I'm like,
Yeah,
eh?
That's
I
a
said, what do you mean? I said, I'm not going to make weight or anything. They'd be like, oh, no, it's
there's
okay.
no way.
Yeah, he's seen how big you are. He'll put you with someone same size. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? But, yeah. But yeah, it used to happen all the time. Just crazy stuff
yeah,
like
Oh,
that. But
it's
yeah.
funny because when we were in Bangkok for the convention, um, we went to the fights and I had the privilege of giving out a belt and I was so up close to it and getting all the stories, and then we go back to the hotel and someone's like, let's go to the bar, and you know how they have the fights every like they have you can go to the bar and just fight,
Yeah.
and I was like, you know, I'm not worried about the boxing portion at all. I said, but what I just witnessed, I don't want to experience. I
yeah.
was like,
No,
I don't want to get kicked in the head or
yeah,
elbowed, so I'm
The
out.
standard in them bar fights, it is literally bar fights. It's not very good
yeah.
standard, but they are pretty funny because anyone from the crowd can just get in and have a
That's
fight.
crazy.
And you win
Yeah.
you win a bucket of whiskey if you win. You get a bucket full of whiskey.
But all of the it was Roberto Duran's crew. They're like, "Let's go. We're gonna bet on you in the crowd. That's where we're gonna make our money." And I was like, "No, man, I'm out." And then you saw I was there with Nonito Donaire's wife, Rachel,
Yeah.
and she was a Taekwondo world champion, and she's like, "I'm doing it." Like she's crazy.
Yeah,
She's crazy in a good way. But I was like, Rachel, listen, Nonito's in camp right now. If you come back with
a
anything wrong
scratch.
with
Yeah,
you,
yeah,
that's on
Down the leg
me.
from an elbow or something.
yeah.
And
It's
that's on
different. It's
me,
different.
and me and Nonito will fight. And so
Yeah,
I'm like, absolutely not. And so I went, I was like, I like threatened Roberto Duran's
Talks
crew.
her out of it.
And then Roberto's like looks at me and I was like, no. And so he's in Spanish, he's going off and he's like, just listen to Jelena.
So going back
Yeah.
to one of them, one of my friends from my gym, he was a 2-time world champion. So one time we'd been both fought in Bangkok and we went down to Koh Samui And one of the guys from across the other side of the bar kept saying to my friend, "Jump in, come on, me and you will have a go." So my friend went over to him. He said, "Listen, I'm pretty good. I'll jump in with you, but let's just play around." So he got in the ring, and the other guy started trying to knock him out. So
Come on.
my friend said to him twice during the fight, he just said, "Right, calm it down now," because I bet, and he didn't calm it down, and my friend just kicked him straight across the neck, just knocked him spark out. I'm like, oh my God.
That part. See, I don't want that part.
I was like, Jesus. I was like, Jordan, everyone knows who you are here. You can't just go out knocking out tourists. And he went, I warned him twice to not go out. I think you shouldn't have been getting in there in first place. He called me out. He called me out for over the bar. Fair play. Yeah. You don't
happens.
be calling out when you do shit like that, do you? So, yeah.
Sometimes some people deserve it. Like, I'm not even mad about it.
No.
I used to, my brother played rugby. He actually was in London for a bit playing semi-pro team. But all of his buddies here, I mean, you know, rugby players, they're all walks of life, but mostly bigger.
Yeah,
they're all crazy.
Too.
They're all crazy.
They're crazy.
Yeah.
So me and my brother are close in age, and so we always hang out. And his buddies always used to be like, just punch me one time. And I was like, no, man, like I don't want to. I'm not. I'm not like your circus person. Like I'm not here for show. And they would drive you nuts, and you're out, and you just keep doing it. So finally, I'm like, all right, you idiot. So. And of course, because these guys don't know anything, you'd stand them up against the wall so they can't move because they're dumb enough to do it. So you like that's the trick. Like you just put them against the wall so there's no movement, no give, like and just kid.
Mine is, but you kick me in leg. Please, just one time, kick me in leg.
I don't ever want to be kicked by you. By the way,
I want to see how it feels. I said, no, you don't want to see how it feels. I said, why do you want to have a dead leg for 3 days? I said, oh no, I just want to see how it feels. No, you don't.
It's a big thing going on now. If you haven't noticed, Liam, on YouTube and everywhere else, people like these big power lifters getting kicked in the leg by a guy that weighs like 120 pounds and he's dropping them.
Do you know what makes me laugh? Ryan Garcia, he's always beating up influencers all the time.
It's
kind of funny though.
Crazy.
Fucking nuts. He gets them to come out of his house and beats them up.
Yeah, it's crazy. He puts a chest
protector
on that just goes under the thing a little bit, and he starts drilling guys in the gut, and he drops everybody. And it's like we all know that's going to happen, right? It's the same thing. I see this whole leg kick craze going on right now. These huge power lifters getting hacked in the leg by a guy that weighs 120 pounds, and he's dropping the guy that weighs 350. You know,
I run into a table with my leg and it hurts. I don't want to get kicked.
Yeah. You know what? When you get kicked in the leg by someone who can kick powerfully, it's a horrendous feeling.
Correct.
Yeah. It's not nice at all. I don't wish it on anyone, to be fair.
No. Yeah. I know Rachel was, when we were in camp, again, you're bored. Camp. There's so many stories from camp life. Rachel's like, let me just kick you one time. I was like, no, like, why? Like, because her dad was teaching. Well, her dad was teaching kicks and this and that. And I was like, I was kind of watching. And again, we're bored. It's camp. And so she's like, just one time. And I was like, no, ma'am. No, thank you.
Yeah, exactly.
I know my skill set and it is just with these. Okay. That's
exactly.
it.
Keep it that way. Well, Liam, we can't thank you enough for being on the show today. It was absolutely like a huge pleasure to have you on. Listen, if you were going to leave our viewers with that one message that you've learned in your 20, 30 years of doing this, please leave something.
Well, if you want to excel in anything in life, there's no shortcuts to it, and there's no easy route to get there. There's no cheat code or special way to get to anything. Just work hard, just put in the time, put in the hours. And if you're not obsessed by what you're doing, don't bother doing it. Go home, just pick up another sport. You need to be obsessed. You need to have that mindset. You need to be willing to come back from the face of diversity, and persevere through all the hard times. Because if you're going to be a professional sportsman, you're going to have to take the rough with the smooth. If you want to be a professional fighter, especially, you better be ready to be able to bounce back from some horrendous setbacks. Because on that journey to the top, you don't just start here and go up. You go up there, then down there, then over there, then sideways there, then up a little bit, then back down a bit, and then up a bit. And so just get ready to take the rough with the smooth, and you've got to be ready to persevere through the rough times. And I guarantee if you do persevere through the rough times, the good times will outweigh any bad times you have, because it's an amazing journey, an amazing life, and an absolute privilege to be able to say that you're a professional fighter and you've lived your dream. So,
and a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, thank you.
That's it. Well, thank you so much, Liam. We can't express our gratitude enough. We're gonna put your socials on all our stuff to make sure that the world finds out. Listen, great that England knows, great that parts of Canada know, but your story, like Jolena said earlier, it has to be a book. It has.
I want the book.
Yeah, well, maybe next year or two, I'll do it.
Yeah, perfect.
You have time on your hands right now. You're not fighting.
Yeah, it's true.
There's a lot of plane rides in your future. You should just start jotting notes.
That's it.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah. You know what? That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I would like to read.
I'll put in there for you, and I'm going to do right here.
I'd like to read the versions as we go, so I don't miss out on.
I'll over the rough copies.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Liam.
Nice one, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
I really appreciate
Fantastic.
you.
Fantastic. Thank you, man. Thank you.
See you. What an incredible guy. I could talk to him for hours.
Of course, we could keep this going. Like that's the part about the podcast that people don't understand is like we could turn this into a 2-3 hour long show. I mean, every time it's just the special guests that come on, and Liam is like, as you know, when you told me about him, that's why I went after to get him on the show, because he literally, like you said, he's telling us the abbreviated versions of things. You know what I mean? And that's why a book, as well as yourself, all the experiences you guys have experienced, most people don't understand them and can't even believe that you've had to go through these things.
Oh, he's probably forgotten half of his stories. I know, people remind me of stuff and I'll be like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. And then you lead on to another story or two from that. Yeah, he's just such an incredible guy and just so down to earth. And like I said, when I met him in Thailand, and this was again before we had spoke about having me on the podcast, and that he was one of the second, I think, names I mentioned. I was like, I met this really cool guy, and at those conventions, there's hundreds of legends in the room, and so you want to mix and you want to sit there, and I feel like I literally, as we did, talk for an hour. I could talk to him for days. There was so much I didn't even get to ask him, but that's how this goes, and conversation is always great, and I really enjoyed him, and I'd love to have him back on.
Part two, it will come in the summertime probably. You know what I mean?
He's just amazing, and another great conversation. So
definitely. We want to thank our people at Crystal Glass, your clear choice for all your glass needs. Go to crystalglass.ca today. I'm Mark Pavlich, everybody. Across the way, 8-time world boxing champion Jelena Mirjinovic, and we'll see you next week.
Number that you'll ever do. Two can be as bad as one. It's the loneliest number since the number one. One is the loneliest number that you'll ever do.